second installment of the introduction to painting a figure in an environment. I thought I'd share with you a few images of some paintings I had done in the past. This is a subject matter that I worked on for quite a long time, and largely through graduate school and then afterwards. So I have some experience with this. The first the first I'd like to draw your attention to is this little image here, and I'll make it a little bigger so you can see it a little better. And I just kind of wanted to bring this to your attention because this is, what I would sort of consider a quick sketch, and just something done to depict a time and place where a great deal of time was not available to complete the work. This was actually done while house sitting for a friend, and really just, it's a smaller painting. It's more like the sort of alla prima things that we did in class with a human figure. And again, I sort of would consider this a sketch. It's fairly loosely painted, fairly thin in areas, and doesn't have a great deal of resolve. But this is, the kind of thing that you might be able to do at your home, just during this time when, people are sitting around, or, you've got a brother or a mother or a sister or friend or significant other, and you can just use that time to, try to make something meaningful that documents the time. So let's shrink that down here and get it out of the way. So these two, this one here with the boy with the flag, and this one with the man and the cat, are around the same time period. And this boy was a brother of a very good friend of mine. I spent a lot of time at their house, and he was 9 or 10 at the time, and I just happened to notice, around the 4th of July, he was, doing what kids do, and he had been carrying this flag around. And so I just took a little time and asked him to pose for me. And this is just a porch chair that they had on their porch, and it has a floral sort of pattern in the seat. And their house was in the country, so the porch was ringed by rhododendron bushes. These are all rhododendron leaves back here. And this young man was quite a sport. He sat for this portrait. I painted this from life, not using photographic references. And he sat many hours for this. And this painting is quite large, actually. It's probably 4 feet tall in this dimension, and it's actually hanging in my dining room right now. So it took a while to complete, and but again, it's sort of like a very strong reminder to me of this particular time in which it was painted, and of this particular person. And the color up here around the face is a little bit washed out, just based on the lighting in my house, and I shot this just to show you in this little lecture. So this painting, this was a neighbor of mine, an older gentleman. He was retired, and he posed for a number of drawings and paintings for me over time. And he enjoyed it. It was like sort of I guess I'd call it a senior citizen visit. I'd have him come over, and he liked to watch television, and I'd feed him lunch, and he was very willing to pose for me. And again, this painting is 4 feet in each direction, so it's quite large, and kind of very brushy. And it did take quite a long time. Um, I did want to say that the cat, when I was doing the sketch for the painting, the cat had jumped up on this window, which was like a favorite perch, and was peering out the window, staring at birds or whatever cats do. And I sketched the cat in as a compositional element there. And of course, the cat didn't remain there for the length of the painting, but whenever the cat would hop up, I would kind of quickly try to brush in various areas of the cat. So this was sort of the most difficult passage, was to get this cat to resolve itself as I worked. But it's just the element. This is my apartment living room and the view out the window, and incorporate that into a painting. And the last one I'd like to show you, and this is more, yesterday when I mentioned, or in the previous video when I mentioned, the notion of masks and gloves and so forth. So this to me is an example of a painting or a drawing. This is a drawing, it's a charcoal drawing, but done, in a circumstance that was not entirely pleasant or benign, or, in an environment that was complicated. So this is a portrait of my grandfather, and when I was in graduate school, he suffered a series of strokes, and I was called on more than one occasion to drive home based on the fact that there was a possibility he might pass away, and he did recover a few times from these events. But when I would get down there, I would stay as long as I needed to, but often it was just visiting with him in the hospital. And at this particular time, he was unconscious for quite a while, and I just sat in a chair next to the bed, and there's not much to do except I couldn't talk to him really, or he was unresponsive. And there was a television on, and I just sat and drew him as I saw him in the hospital. And although not a tremendously pleasant drawing, it's very meaningful, and I guess I just wanted to share this with you because this time that we're in right now, is also a challenging time, and I just kind of wanted to reiterate that if you feel so inclined, you might be able to address some of the difficulty through your artwork in a creative fashion. So in the next presentation, I'll show you some historical painters who have done great things with this subject matter. And again, this is not a requirement that you address coronavirus in your work, but I'm just encouraging to stretch your subject matter muscles. Talk to you in the next video.